So we've been talking about what an executor does and understanding the role. And quite frankly, in my work, if I'm making a will, I'm asking someone, who do you trust? Who do you want as backups? And I'm putting the name in the document. But there's much more to the selection of an executor.
Yes.
And that's something you have experience with, right?
Absolutely. So what I talk about with my clients is, number one, it doesn't have to be family, but it does need to be somebody that you trust. It needs to be somebody with the capacity and energy to be able to take on the role, and it needs to be a really good communicator. So this is somebody who's communicating not only with professionals, but also with potentially conflicted family members.
Right. What kinds of professionals is an executor going to be working with?
So executors are often working with CPAs, financial advisors, attorneys, or executor advisors like me.
Right. Because the taxes probably need to be filed.
Absolutely.
The IRS doesn't really care if you passed away in October or November. You still need to file income taxes the following April.
Indeed.
Is it normal for an executor to feel overwhelmed with everything they have to do?
Yes, absolutely. Because a lot of times, as we described the characteristics that you want of an executor, they're the go-to person for everybody. And they likely have full-time jobs and a family, and they lose a loved one, and they have this new job that they have to do, and they're grieving on top of their own life. It is very common for them to feel completely overwhelmed.
That's true. I like to say it seems like in every family there's a go-to person.
Yes.
And that's usually who I wind up talking to and probably who you wind up working with also.
Exactly.
And it's not like you don't have a lot on your plate already.
Yeah.
But there's skills that they need to have themselves. Are they essential? What's helpful here?
Yeah, absolutely. So executors, of course, need to have a good moral compass. You selected them for a reason, right?
Because you trust
them.
That's the main quality.
Exactly. And some of the other things that we covered too, right, is just making sure that that they have good communication skills and that they have the energy and capacity to take on a role like this. However, a lot of times executors think that they need to be everything, that they need to be a bookkeeper, a legal expert, a real estate expert, a tax expert, and that adds to the overwhelm. But in actuality, that's not the case. The executor was selected for that role because they're going to do the right thing and because they're trustworthy. And as we know, the executor's job is to do exactly what the will or the trust says.
Right. It's the management position.
It's the management position.
So with the executor being in a management role, they can hire professionals. They're not just working with them, but they're also hiring them to help the executor do their job, right?
Yes, and that's in the best interest of the estate. And another thing to remember is that executors, just like trustees, there are professionals that can do this. So if you don't have the right executor or the right trustee in your network, there is an option where you can hire an external professional to do that work for you.
Right. And oftentimes an attorney, such as myself, is going to be able to point you in the right direction. Here's your options. Go talk to them, interview them, see if that's a good fit for you and your family. Okay, so you're a certified executor advisor. Now, we've been talking about how an executor role is basically, think of it as a manager role. You have to get the job done. Sometimes you have to hire people to do it. It's figuring out the best way. What would you tell someone? Like, say your best friend just came to you and was like, oh my God, I'm the executor. I had no idea. What would you tell them?
Yeah, so as a certified executor advisor, I help educate them on what the role is, and we come up with a project plan of what they need to do and in what order. When you find yourself in the executor role and you are overwhelmed with grief and then all of the things that are going on with planning the funeral and managing your own life and all of those things, paying for the funeral, there's so many gotchas and there's so many opportunities to waste money and to waste time. And with my experience as a certified executor advisor, I am able to help them prioritize the tasks in the right order to make sure that they don't lose time and that they have the space to grieve.
And they don't miss anything crucial in the process.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you're advising someone who is now an executor, would you say, okay, do it all yourself? Or where do you parse it out? What's your advice to them as far as building a team?
Yeah. So, if they are a real estate agent and that is their area of expertise, then please go on and be responsible for selling the home. But anywhere else that is not in your area of genius, hire somebody. That is what is in the best interest of the estate. So CPA for sure, make sure you've got somebody to do taxes. If there are investments, make sure that you hire a financial advisor. If there are assets that we think are of value, making sure that we hire an appraiser and making sure that those assets are properly insured before they're liquidated.
If the will says you have to create a trust and hold something else in trust, Maybe think about a professional trustee or at least an attorney who can advise you on setting up and funding that trust, getting that engine going.
As an executor, I would tell you, you're not alone. You don't have to go through this by yourself. There are lots of professionals out there that can help you through this process.